Chapter 7. Is that what passes for a pecker where you come from? The wolf growled in my skull, and I clenched my fists reflexively. But I kept from jumping out of my skin, the benefits of a waning moon. "Jesus, Mac!" I snapped, squinting and shielding my eyes against the daylight. "How long have you been here?" Mac Watson leaned against the hood of his old gray Ford Taurus beneath a flimsy, prefabricated cover he'd set up a couple of years back for rainy days like this. He kept this car for the occasional surveillance job, and he preferred to take it through the gauntlet of my driveway when he visited rather than risk scratching up his prized Suburban. I regretted giving him the combination to the padlock on the gate, but it was hard to keep such things from the guy who bought it. He had lit a fire in the fire barrel, and it smelled like it had been going long enough to build some coals. He sipped from a can of Coors in his hand, and Blue sat dotingly at his feet, keeping the less hospitable members of the pack at a distance where they soaked up what heat they could from the fire. Several empty cans sat at Mac's feet, and a cooler rested on the hood beside him. He glanced at his wristwatch. "Oh, I've been here for about 3 or 4 beers now," he grinned, and waited for me to marvel at his wit. As usual, I let him wait. I walked toward the rain barrel where I collected my runoff. "I thought you knew better than to show up unexpected." I was bothered that I hadn't heard him arrive. His approaching car should have been enough, and my dogs certainly would have alerted me if I hadn't noticed that. But he'd been sitting out here for over an hour, opening and draining cans practically under my nose. "I told you I was coming up. You said Monday." I cupped my hands and slurped greedily at the water. "It is Monday, Frank." Rita's dope really was good. I dunked my head into the icy water and splashed some of it onto my body to rinse off the filth while I processed the fact that 4 nights had passed since I'd seen Mac. My stomach growled in corroboration. "Damn," Mac shivered. "How can you stand that? Makes me cold just watching you." "So don't watch," I said, dunking my head again. "Have you been sleeping this whole time?" God, I hope so, I thought to myself. "Toss me one of those." I held out my hand as Mac passed a silver can. I opened it and drained it without pausing. It was good to have something in my stomach, but it was only a start. I dropped the empty can and extended my hand for another. "First, maybe you should use that thing or put it away," Mac said with a brief downward glance. All right, I said. I relieved myself against the broken birch and went back into the trailer for a change of clothes. After wiping myself off with an old towel and throwing on a relatively fresh pair of jeans and a tattered t-shirt, I came back out carrying my boots. My hair and beard, significantly thicker after the full moon, still dripped with water. "Damn, you look cold," Mac said as he tossed me the promised beer. "I'm not," I said as I opened the can, drinking this one more patiently. Most people don't know what real cold is, especially here in Washington where it seldom snows. Of course, most people didn't have a bloodthirsty wolf spirit sharing their body and making them unnaturally resilient. Still, after spending a couple of hard winters barefoot in the Wyoming bighorns during one of my more reclusive phases in the mid-60s, I barely noticed what passed for cold anywhere here in the Northwest. "Well, I am," Mac said. "Can we go inside? I brought you a tank of propane for the heater if it's still working." "No," I said. I thought about the piss and puke and shit I'd have to clean up, and decided to do Mac a favor. I knew he'd been through the ringer in the war, but some things you can't unsee. "Well, I ain't staying out here," he said. "Come on, I'll buy you dinner." Dinner? I glanced at the sky and realized it was late afternoon. Damn. Damn. Sounds good. Let me feed the gang first. I appended another 20-pound bag of kibble for the pack and waited for Blue to have her share before putting on my boots and field jacket. Blue looked slightly put out when Mac took her customary place in the passenger's seat of my Blazer, but she hopped into the back without much complaint. I don't like to travel without Blue when I can avoid it. She has a way of keeping me level. "Smells like dog in here," Mac said. Can't imagine why. Blue panted happily over his shoulder, and he gave her snout a pat as we pulled through my bramble gauntlet and onto the road. Now that we were in the car together, I noticed that Mac smelled uneasy. He had something on his mind. "Burgers?" he asked. "Burgers," I agreed. I didn't pry. I knew that Mac had come to talk, and he would tell me what was on his mind when he was ready. He made small talk as I took us to Boomer's, an old-style drive-in burger joint in Bellingham that I like. Mac ordered a bacon burger, fries, and a Coke. I ordered 10 plain burgers and water. Bread and meat. Why mess with a good thing? He showed me pictures of his grandkids while we waited for our food. I looked at them politely, but didn't really know what to say. There was something on his mind, and I was never good at small talk. We took our food to a quiet, wooded spot at the nearby lake. I ate 2 of my burgers on the way and tossed one to a grateful Blue in the back seat. The lake had trails all around it where college kids liked to run or bicycle or take their dogs for walks. And the whole thing was a bit too close to a golf course in the suburbs for my taste. But it was a hell of a lot more comfortable for me than sitting in an enclosed space with a bunch of strangers. The rain eased up for a while, and Blue found a gnarled stick that she managed to bully Mac into throwing for her. It was nice. A couple of old friends and a dog having burgers at a lake. I felt almost normal. But it couldn't last. "So, Red," Mac began nervously, clearing his throat as he searched for words. Here it comes, I thought to myself. This was the part where he tried to save me, to get me clean, to get me to go to church, to get me to move back into town, to get a life. "Spit it out, Mac," I said. "You told me there wasn't any mess. At the trailer park, I mean," he said. "Right?" "That's right," I said. A couple of bruises and some light property damage hardly qualified as a mess by my standards. Well, that and a few $100,000 in missing heroin. I knew that was going to come back to bite me in the ass. I braced for it. "Nobody got hurt." "You're sure?" he asked. "That's what I said." "Okay," he said. "Okay, I believe you." "What is it, Mac? Is the kid okay?" "Andy? Yeah, she's okay. She's with her dad. She testified. She was scared as hell, but she did good. Real good. Tough kid." "Then what the hell is it?" "My informant. She's dead." "Damn," I said. "Rita? That's a shame. Can't say I'm surprised, though." "You're not?" "Well, no," I said. "Not if her fella found out that she snitched." Or he found out that his club's dope was missing, I thought to myself. "Well, yes, we already knew that they're not shy about hurting women. We talked about that when she called and told me about Andy. I told her she couldn't hang around after we got her, but she said that she had that handled. Apparently not. I thought about the bruises on Andy's face and the way Rita had clearly associated force with sex. I found myself wanting to pay a visit to some bikers. Yes. The wolf liked that idea. "But that's the thing, Frank," Mac said. "This didn't look like something some angry bikers did. This is something else." "Oh?" I said. Maybe Los Perdidos were smarter than I gave them credit for. Mac had said that this Lodi guy, Vargas or whatever his real name was connected. Maybe he knew how to send a message and cover his tracks. It looked like... Well, Frank, it looked like some kind of animal got to her. Tore her apart. What? The county guys said they've never seen anything like it. Thought it was a bear attack, or maybe a pack of dogs, or some rabid coyotes, or something. But they don't know what we know. When? I asked. Late Thursday night or early Friday morning, he said. The night you brought Andy. So you think that I broke into a sweat. I remembered my dream. Rita. The taste of her blood. Her screams. The way she'd felt under me. The way my fangs sank into flesh as I tore into her. It had been so vivid. No, Frank, he said. Of course not. I know you. I'm saying that there's someone else out there. Someone like you. I stared out at the lake. The rain was starting again. Blue knew something was wrong. She sat at my feet and rested her jowls on my knee, whimpering. I'm sorry, Frank, Mac went on. I didn't mean to make it sound like I thought it was you. I know what kind of man you are. I know you'd never do anything like that. I thought about Evelyn. I remembered the blood on the walls where I'd torn into her. The way she screamed. The way it excited me. Frank? The dream. The broken cable. The open door. Frank! You're wrong, I said. What? You're wrong about me, Mac. What the hell are you talking about? He asked. I did it, I said under my breath. I'm a killer. I've done it before.